Hello and welcome to another SpeedPaint video. So for this SpeedPaint, I'm going to do something a little special. I'm going to be answering a couple questions later on, but right now I'm just going to talk about the piece a little bit. See, this piece is a remake of kind of like a Meet the Artist thing that I did back in 2017. The sort of hashtag Meet the Artist is a common thing you might see on Twitter or on Tumblr. Depending on where you look, I think it's pretty common for digital artists to do. And I just wanted to remake mine because, I mean, at this point, it's 3 years old. So yeah, it needed a bit of updating in my opinion, because I feel like since then I've changed a lot as an artist and kind of as a person. I mean, when I made the first one, I think I was like either a junior or a senior in college, kind of still trying to figure out my art style. Whereas now I'm a graduate, I mean, I'm still kind of figuring things out, but I think comparatively I've kind of come a long way. So if I were to critique the old piece kind of versus the new piece, obviously I'm favorable towards the new piece. I mean, looking at the old piece, I would say that it has a kind of poor silhouette. The representation of like my character is hunched down, like curled inward. Whereas this new one, the pose I think is a lot more readable, and I think that makes sense because since then I've learned a lot more about silhouettes and using a line of action. You can also see in the new one I tried using the straight and curved line technique for the limbs especially, which I think just overall makes the pose more readable compared to what it was in my old piece. I also think comparing the two, I've noticed that I have more experience now drawing wrinkles on clothing, kind of simplifying the shapes in those folds. In the old one, the way that I did the wrinkles, it kind of makes it look like the character's wearing a diaper. So improvement there. In this new one, I also wanted to kind of add the inventory section that I see in a lot of the Meet the Artist pieces. I really like this touch. I think it kind of displays a little bit more information on a visual level. Whereas the old one, I didn't have that. Moving on, this video is actually kind of special in the sense that I'm going to be answering a couple questions to celebrate or kind of mark the fact that this channel itself is approaching 250 subs. We're not quite there yet, but it's getting really close, and I'm kind of too excited to wait. I actually thought that this piece was so fitting for a Q&A style format that, I mean, I'm jumping the gun. To kind of mark that approaching 250 milestone, I want to celebrate by connecting more with the growing community, kind of give you a opportunity to get to know me. So I kind of asked for some questions, reached out on my Twitter and in another SpeedPaint video. I only received a couple of questions, but that's fine. I am honored to answer them. First, from Floofy Boy on YouTube, they gave me an amazing compliment. Again, thank you. You all are very kind in the comments. I cannot say thank you enough. But then Floofy Boy asks, do you have any pets? Which, short answer, yes I do. I'm living with 3 Newfoundlands, which if you don't know, they basically look like teddy bears, except that they're like 120-pound dogs. I also have 1 mini Rex rabbit of my very own. His name is Leroy, and you'll see him included in this piece. So the 3 dogs are not personally mine, I just kind of live with them and help take care of them. They actually belong to my parents, whereas Leroy the rabbit is 100% mine. He lives in my room, I take care of him, I pay for him, all that jazz. Alright, so next question that we have is from @JasonVSenpai on Twitter. They ask, if you could stop time for an entire day, what would you do? Sleep? Probably sleep. To answer this question a bit more seriously, I think it would be great to use the opportunity to just kind of explore. There's a couple places I can think of where, you know, public access is restricted, and I think it would be super cool to just have free roam of the place. For example, I'm sure everyone kind of has these rumors about their school, but the high school that I attended, it was rumored to have like a bomb shelter in the basement. I mean, which kind of makes sense. There were some public places that had that, and it was kind of an old building, so I think it would be cool to be able to kind of explore the underground school and try to find this bomb shelter. I also think it would be cool to take a camera and sort of find things to take pictures of that you wouldn't really have the chance. Another place I'd want to go to is like the zoo and be able to go inside the exhibits while everything is frozen, get to look at the dangerous animals up close, and maybe even take some pictures. I would just love to pet an otter, honestly, like climb into the otter exhibit and just touch a frozen one. But I just also imagine you could get some really cool shots with a camera if just like there was no danger of how close you get to an animal. Even things that are like frozen mid-movement, like a bird flapping. I'm sure there's cameras that are fast enough to take that kind of picture, but you could like hardcore set up the shot if a bird is just frozen in place. So going back to the piece, I just wanted to talk about the likes and dislikes that I'm including, go a little bit into more detail. Under the likes section, it says webcomics. I actually do have a webcomic, it's called Ghosting, and I love it. I unfortunately have not been able to work on it for a while, but I would just love to do that. Actually, now that my schedule is a lot more open, I might actually pick that up again. Like, that's a good idea. But yes, I love webcomics, I love reading them, I love writing them. I'm just so much into storytelling. So the comic Ghosting obviously kind of has like a ghost theme. It's sort of this horror movie-esque. I use a lot of common knowledge that's kind of represented in horror movies, which you'll also see under likes. Horror movies. I probably have been watching horror movies since I could comprehend horror movies, like way too young. Another thing, in the dislikes, it says crowded places. That is a huge dislike for me. I especially don't like lines, partially because of the wait time, but mostly because I hate it when people are standing too close to me. Like if it's a crowded place and they're like right up on you, oh my goodness. Lastly, on my dislikes, you'll notice it says making rigs, or just like rigging in general. If you don't know, that's kind of like an animation style where you build a puppet and they actually kind of like have a skeleton, so if you wanted to move the arm, you don't have to draw it, you just kind of like slide it. I mean, rigging is kind of like complex in the form of as far as animation goes, but I tried rigging, I know how to do rigs to an extent. I think I'm just like too much of a perfectionist, and if they don't look right, I cannot stand it. I'd rather just draw the line where it's supposed to be than try and bend this puppet's arm to my will. Well, that's going to about wrap it up for this speed paint. If you have any questions you want to ask me, feel free to ask me in the comments. I'll try to do another Q&A in the future. I don't know when that'll be. So yeah, that is all I have for this speed paint. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.